Alright, Perfect Death here, and I'm going to do another video on Genshin Impact. Been playing it fairly casually, maybe about an hour or two at most a day, and been gradually making some progress. So I figure I will show off some of that progress in this video. Now, this particular instance here is one where we're going to fight 3 different abyssal mages. There'll be a pyro, a hydro, and a cryo element one. So in the instance, they buff the geo reaction, but I found I can actually do it pretty well with this current layout that I've got here. Levelated characters, this is a level 90 instance, and I'll explain some of the stuff once I'm in. It loads up. I've gotten really lucky on the Mona rolls, actually. In the recent things, I've gotten Mona to a Constellation rank 2. Now, the first Constellation for her is, it's okay. It basically just means that during her Omen debuff, enemies take extra damage for that 8-second period. And so the Omen skill, the Omen debuff, comes from her elemental burst, Stellaris Phantasm. And so this one will trap enemies in a pocket, and then if they are hit or they're too big to get trapped, then they'll take a bunch of damage, and it applies this Omen to them. And the Omen bonus currently at this level, because you can level it up, it'll have the damage and then the damage bonus that applies for the 5 seconds. So then they get an extra 8 seconds of time where they'll be taking a 15% more damage. So for 5 seconds it'll be 69%, and then for after that 5 seconds it'll be just a 15%. So this is a skill that you generally spam quite a bit. So Mona's usual thing is that she just uses her taunt skill. This one will sit around and it'll taunt enemies towards it. Or her burst, which is just a big burst of damage in an AoE. However, once you get this second one, this is where you can actually use her a lot for doing normal attacks. This gives a 20% chance that she will do a charged attack for free. And that can only happen once every 5 seconds. So she has a very fast attack speed. So having this is potentially really good, and I will be comboing that with my C6 Fischl. There was an event where you got free one, and she's been in a couple of the raid ups, so I now have her at Constellation 6, and this 6th one gives every time you attack with any character that you've used, when Oz is out, Oz will zap them with a 30% electro damage based on Fischl's attack. So if you combine that with one of her passives, I think it is, no, it's the next one here. So when this passive occurs, Oz will zap stuff for 80% of Fischl's damage whenever there's a electro element reaction that happens. So once she drops her Oz, and I switched over to Mona because all of her normal attacks are water element, we're going to be triggering a ton of water electro reactions, and as a result, there's a lot of DPS that comes out of that. So Pyro guy starts over here, and whoop. And then you just zap, zap, zap. There goes the shield. And probably Q him. Ow.
Let me scribe.
He's mad. He's mad. That's one of the things about these guys, is that they get really strong when you pop their shield. And then against let's do the cryo guy next. Cryo guy is actually quite weak too. go. Ah, I hate that frost. Leave it. Basically, it's an area that I can't hit him in, so there we go. We'll do that. We'll do that. I'll pop him again. Oh, I hate these things. Stop it. There we go. And back over here. Where'd you go? And the Hydra is pretty weak against Pyro, but Klee's got slow attack speed, so it'll take a bit to break his shield. And once his shield is down, do that, do that. And look at all the charges. Probably don't even need to use any bursts. And throw some bombs. Boom. There we go. So that was pretty okay there. You can see with their combo, they can tear through some of those shields, because a lot of the times those shields are based on your how many times you hit them, right? So like a charged attack will do more than what a couple of normal attacks do. So having that auto cast charged attack really tears through the shields. So you can break through those pyro mages about twice as fast as before. Actually, let's just claim this. I've been farming this one a fair bit because I want to try to see if I can get Nobilis Obliged accessories for Mona, because this will make her elemental burst buff your attack by a lot for 12 seconds, so it's even more extra damage that you'll do during that time. There are a couple of other things. This one's a geo damage, an MO damage, attack, pyro, and electro. That's not too bad of one. Gambler's set's pretty good, though I haven't quite tried to get someone built on it. Mostly that's because I've been building some of the other characters. I've only recently started trying to build these accessories. I went and tried to get my characters leveled up first, so that was the main thing, was grinding bosses to ascend my characters. Now in the new version, they actually made it so that when you ascend a certain amount, you will be able to get free rolls. And because I have a whole bunch of characters at the level 80 rank, you know, all these characters, I ended up getting about 40 rolls, which is one of the reasons why I ended up getting another Mona. And I also got enough to C6 Zhongli, so now she's really strong as well. But aside from that, I've been looking at what other characters to build. I think I will probably go for Zhongli as well. I've been leveling him up because this is a pretty good first constellation. It makes him extremely strong. And I didn't have that kind of luck on Klee, but for Klee, like, she's just pyro regular attacker, so she's still really good without any constellations. Same with Venti, no constellations, he's still really strong. And I've got my 2 healer type characters, so, and I might as well show the current layout for her artifacts. She's just got the 2-piece Oblige, or Nobilis Oblige, and then a 2-piece Wanderer's Troop. A big part about why I did that was this one is a hydro damage. And originally she was using this one for hydro damage, but I ended up ditching the scholars, and so now I'm just running a 2-piece Wanderers and then the 2-piece because my Noblesse Oblige ones for this slot are just been HP and defense, so they haven't been too useful there. I got one for like Pyro and one for HP. Could probably give Zhongli, put Zhongli maybe on this set. I don't know. We'll see. I probably want Zhongli on a different set than the Chivalry one. I've just randomly like given out some no upgraded ones to characters that I might maybe level up. Just still kind of feeling around for some of these characters about whether I would build for them or not. The main thing was that I've got at least a group of 8. I've got essentially 9. Right now I might go for 10 just to give a little more flexibility on what kind of characters I can bring. As it's really useful to have a bunch of different options. So for Mona, when you're building her, there's a useful thing here where the higher her energy recharges, the higher her hydro damage bonus goes. So you kind of, when you're picking out what kind of things to give her, I've given her this because it's an energy recharge, and it's also got a crit damage bonus on it, which is kind of neat. But a lot of these other ones are just, I do have an energy recharge one down here, but compared to it, the enchant isn't really that different. I might be able to get a higher crit damage if I were to roll and upgrade this one. Depends on which gets upgraded. For every about +4, you'll get a chance to roll a new option. So ideally, if I could get a Noblesse Oblige on this slot here for energy recharge, I've just gotten these 4-star ones, no 5-star, and none of them have energy recharge on them, because then that means she spams more of her burst and she converts more of her damage into the into her hydro damage. So over on here you can get a look at her energy recharge. It did drop a little bit because I switched her out of the Scholars set, because it used to almost be at 200%. But she still recharges very fast because it's actually one of her default things right here is that she will have energy recharge on her by just leveling her up. So I think with the combo of the artifacts, which is an extra 50% on top of her base amount, which is the 174. So I don't quite know where you see her total stats at, because that's definitely not her total. That's just from her level. But, and it also doesn't show the hydro. It might show the hydro damage bonus from that, but for her weapon, I don't quite have the best options for, like, this one's pretty okay because it's got high energy recharge. So I could look at building a weapon, an alternative weapon. I used to give her this one for the healing, and this one's on Klee. And this would potentially be really useful for Mona because she does a lot of normal and charged attacks. So that could work out really well for her. But I'm currently using this one, which you get from the Battle Pass, if you buy the Battle Pass. And not sure if I'll get the next Battle Pass. I've only gotten the last one. So if you get this one, then you'd have a thing where every time you do an attack, a normal attack, it'll boost the damage of your burst and elemental skill, and then likewise if you use a burst or elemental skill, it'll boost your regular attack and charge damage. So definitely pretty useful, especially because of the crit rate, as you can crit off of her burst, which is largely how people get really crazy high attacks or damages with her. To kind of showcase that, let's see if I can find some guys to test this on. Because generally if you want to really maximize the effect of her burst, if I can find a wonderful test subject, we can show that off. Oh, there's a guy right there. So if I go to Klee, or any pyro character who can just inflict pyro on somebody,
there's no end to this.
You pop pyro on him,
Written in the stars.
hit him with that, and then pop. You see, yeah, it was like 15,000 damage right there.
Let me scry.
No
And the reason that that damage was so absurdly high, because that can go really high, like 15k is small time. You can get that even higher if you get a crit, and you can get that even higher if you build for it. But the reason for that has to do with how pyro hydro reactions work and how her burst calculates when the damage happens. So when you apply pyro to an enemy, right, and then you hit it with water, it'll cause a vaporized effect which will boost the water damage by 2. If you did the other way around, where you did water and then pyro, what'll happen is it's only about 50% more damage on the pyro side. So there's that, but then there's also a weird thing where if you do the pyro and then you do her burst, it doesn't apply the damage right away. It waits until there's another hit. And that, if you do that with another pyro attack, it causes like this double pyro hydro evaporate reaction. And so you can do a ton of damage off of that, and some people have builds where they can one-shot a boss with that combo. So it's not too awkward to do. You just don't want to have other things happening, like if I have Oz out, Oz will interfere with that setup. So if you're looking to set it up, you just get a character. Klee's pretty convenient for that, but if you have a pyro character, you can just do your pyro, do your burst, then do pyro again. So she's a very bursty character. I will also bring up, some people really like how she moves, but you also have to keep in mind that her sprint is kind of strange. For a lot of characters, if you change your direction, they change direction very easily. Whereas with Mona, she corners, right? You can see how she bends. I'm just going left, right, and she ends up doing that. Whereas if I'm on another character, just wait for my stamina to recharge. I'm on another character doing that. You can see how if I hold it down and I do a sharp turn, they will stop each other, right? But they can corner very easily. Whereas with Mona, if you're sprinting and you go the opposite way, she doesn't stop, but she instead does this turn. And if you're not used to that, you can, sometimes run into things. So if an enemy's in front of you and you want to run the other way, you kind of corner like that. Whereas for other characters, you can just turn right back away. So she is a little faster when she's doing her sprint here. Whereas some other characters, they're just a slightly slower. And of course Mona can go over water. But Mona does not like stairs. There's some objects where she just will not go over. She'll just get stuck. Right? Whereas other characters, they will just go right over objects. So if you're sprinting, she'll just go right over. Oh, there's a big boy. Let's go finish it off with taking on big boy over here. I'll use Ooh. There we go. Let's break his shield.
Shadows of fate. Wings of darkness. Come, sever night from day.
this guy's shield. Oop.
Shadows of fate.
Where are you? Where are you? You're up here. And off you go. I think that's everybody. So that's kind of the nice thing is about Klee in particular. She's really good at taking down shields for being a caster, or else I would have had a Claymore character in for breaking shields. But I think before I go, I'm actually just going to find another enemy just to show off the charged attack. I might as well, because that is a very useful thing. So, and let's see. There we go. There we go. There it is, right there. 3K. So my attacks are, you know, maybe 900, and then like 17. There's a 3K. That's if it's a crit. Let's just break the shield. So it definitely is a really big boost to Mona's DPS. Now, if you can, like you'll eventually, if you keep getting lucky and you get more of her levels, then this is just a higher level for her skill. Another one where people who have Omen on them, shield, they get a increased crit rate when attacking people under Omen. And this one increases the level of the skill itself. And then there's another one here where the longer you sprint, the more damaged your next charged attack will be. Not really sure how well this one would play out, because I've been kind of looking at how much, sometimes these will really change how a character is played. And this one, you can stack this up by sprinting for about 2, maybe 3 seconds. It's kind of useful if you are doing this one where every 2 seconds you will drop a illusionary torrent, which is what, or a mirror reflection, her taunt. It's a weaker one, but you might be able to combo these two together. I'm so far away from it that I'm not really thinking too much about it, but it does come to mind about whether or not it would combo well with this upgrade, or if it would just completely change a playstyle for her where you would just do a lot of kiting. So like you would sprint and you would just kind of wait those 2 seconds or 3 seconds, and then you would pop out and do a charge attack and then run. Or if you would just run for a bit, pop out, boom, 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 until you do a charge attack and then sprint around some more. I'm not sure how well that would work. Because again, the more that you're spending sprinting, you're not doing any DPS. So, not sure about how well that will work. Either way, I'll call it there. Take care.